So the New York City mayoral debate happened recently, but before we chat about it, let's go back to past Daniel. Y'all, so I am prepared for this New York City mayoral debate. As you can see, I got my New York pizza right here. I mean, I'm in Pennsylvania right now for college, but this pizzeria is the closest we get to New York pizza, and it's buffalo chicken because it's about to get spicy. There are 3 candidates in this race. There is Zoran, Cuomo, and Curtis.
Remember me? Brother man, upstairs, 5th floor.
And each candidate has a different message strategy that they use. There are 3 P's. It's policy, pass, and populism. And you're going to see each strategy implemented as we talk about the takeaways of this debate. Let's start with the opening statements.
It's us versus them.
All right, you see right there, the first sentence that he said. As you can see, us versus them is a statement used in populist rhetoric. If you don't know what populism is, it's an approach that puts the people against elites who wants to undermine people's sovereignty. It wants to bring the power back to the people, getting rid of elite power.
I know many of you hardworking New Yorkers, you tell me you've been pushed aside, you've been silenced. These are the people that have all the money, all the connections. They've made their backroom deals, but we have something more important. We have you, the people, and we're not going to be silenced anymore. We're going to fight.
There you go, bringing back the power to the American people. And people love relatability and charisma, and that is something that a lot of populist candidates have. And so while Curtis is talking to the American people, let me tell you, this man is the embodiment of New York. Listen, if you go to Brooklyn or Queens, which is on Long Island, by the way, but we're not going to discuss that. I just got to let y'all know. But if you go, you're going to see a person like Curtis outside or a pigeon lady.
First, thank you to the moderators. Thank you all for being here. And go Knicks, go Knicks, go Knicks.
Hey, listen, the Knicks are doing good. I have high hopes for the Knicks to go to the finals this year. Imagine a Warriors versus Knicks finals. That would be a dream come true. Listen, I know I'm from Long Island, but listen. Warriors all day. Warriors all day, listen. Warriors all day, come on. Look at that. You see, Curry deserves his 5th ring.
My main opponent has no new ideas. He has no new plan. It's Bill de Blasio rehash, and we know how that turned out. He's never run anything, managed anything. He's never had a real job.
All right, chill, dog. You already started an attack against your biggest competitor, then you're immediately going to say, stop hate-mongering.
I will hire 5,000 new police, build 500,000 new units. I will cut taxes. I will grow jobs. And I will end this hate-mongering and division that is tearing this city apart. You know I can make change. You know I can make government work. I've done it before. I'll be ready on day 1.
What Cuomo tried to do is make New Yorkers use retrospective voting, which is making decisions based on evaluating past performances.
Thank you to the moderators, and thank you to New Yorkers for tuning in. I know you'd rather be watching the Knicks.
Now, I know that the Knicks sent a cease and desist letter to Zoran because of a political ad. And if I was Zoran, I would have been like, oh, word? Oh, for real? Oh, nah, forget y'all. Go Nets.
I know what actually keeps you up. It's whether or not you can afford to live a safe and dignified life in this city. I have plans for our future. My opponents only have fear.
Now, what Zoran is doing is talking about the future and wants people to use prospective voting. Zoran immediately talks about the issues that are concerning New Yorkers, like affordability. Affordability with housing, groceries, public transportation, throughout the whole debate, which is the message that Democrats need to start using. Now, the first question was how the mayor and NYPD should deal with the recent ice raid on Canal Street. The raid did cause the disruption of New York life due to the escalation of ICE agents detaining 9 immigrants from Africa and also arresting protesters. Let's go to Cuomo, and you're going to see the P that I was talking about. Pause.
I've had a lot of dealings with President Trump. He puts his finger in your chest, and you have to put your finger right back in his chest. I've actually had this situation with ICE, and I called the president, and I went down to the White House, and I said, that doesn't work in New York. You don't send ICE in without coordinating with our police.
Now you're going to see Zoran's P. Huh. Okay, I'm going to stop saying that. You're going to see Zoran's policy strategy on how he plans to combat ICE and protect immigrants and New Yorkers.
ICE is a reckless entity that cares little for the law and even less for the people that they're supposed to serve. What we need to be doing here in our city is to end the chapter of collaboration between City Hall and the federal government. What we need to do is actually pass the street vending reform bills that have been in the City Council, some of which that this mayor has actually overridden.
There is a street reform package which has bills like increasing permit access and creating a division within the Department of Small Businesses to assist vendors. There's also a Senate bill introduced by New York State Senator Jessica Ramos to pressure the city government to resolve the long application process to get a permit. These are important bills because it takes a long time for vendors to enter the system, and this will speed up the application process.
There is not communication between the local authorities and the feds. This is a matter that should have been left up to the NYPD. But we can't tolerate citizens attacking our federal law enforcement forces in the street because then that will just lead to anarchy.
Courtesy While blamed no cash bail for the use of federal intervention, and then he contrasted himself to the other candidates. But if we compare, something that each candidate had in common was that they condemned the use of ICE coming to New York and the president's attempts to exceed his executive authority. Which goes to the next question: how would they work or take a stand against President Trump?
You can't beat Trump. He holds most of the cards.
Not gonna lie, to me that's crazy to say. You can't beat Trump and he holds all the cards? Yo, you know how big this man's ego is. Don't boost it up even more. You still gotta present yourself as a strong leader. But you can see that he's presenting himself as the candidate who doesn't try to get adversarial, but he tries to work with anyone for the betterment of New York.
He's already cut federal funding for Medicaid, for the SNAP program, and it's threatened to cut funds for NYCHA. So if you're all of a sudden going to get adversarial, you're going to lose. And who gets hurt? The people of New York City. With Trump, it's always the art of the deal. You have to go, you have to try to negotiate, whether it's with his minions or himself.
And you are going to have to confront him. And you can beat him. I confronted him, and I have beaten him. He was going to quarantine New York during COVID, and I stopped him. He was going to cut aid to federal programs, and I stopped him. But you also want to be in a place where you can cooperate on good things, because we need federal help if we're going to save our city and rebuild our city.
It's true. Cuomo did confront Trump over COVID, calling it the worst government blunder in modern history, not backing down when Trump said that he had total authority to reopen the economy. However, this is bad for Cuomo because his handling of COVID is perceived as bad due to nursing home deaths, and this Trump administration has definitely been more arbitrary. There has been more capitulation, and the Republicans hold the House and the Senate, so Trump would fight harder to push beyond his constitutional authority. So while Cuomo is boasting about his past, it is important to know that we are in different and insane times right now, and Cuomo has to be aware of that.
Look, Donald Trump ran on 3 promises. He ran on creating the single largest deportation force in American history, he ran on going after his political enemies, and he ran on lowering the cost of living. If he wants to talk to me about the 3rd piece of that agenda, I will always be ready and willing. But if he wants to talk about how to pursue the 1st and 2nd piece of that agenda at the expense of New Yorkers, I will fight him every single step of the way.
Now, to me, this statement by Zoran was perfect because he attacked Trump, talking about the mass deportations and trying to go after political enemies. But he also said that he is willing to work with Trump with affordability, which is something that Trump had ran on, which is one of the main reasons why he won. Now, let's go to a few issues. Let's see what the candidates had to say about affordable housing. Zoran had a perfect answer. He stated the problem and then clearly explained his plan on how to tackle public school students being homeless without dancing around the subject.
My campaign is going to deliver 200,000 new affordable homes across the 5 boroughs, all while freezing the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants. Now, in the public school system, we also have a program called Every Child and Family is Known. It links a child who is living in a homeless shelter with an employee of the public school system. It also links that employee with the child's family. It's been shown to increase attendance records, self-esteem, a level of belonging in that school system. I am going to increase that pilot program to more than 200 schools, and we're going to do it because we have to deliver for these children.
Cuomo attacked Zoran and Bill de Blasio and said that the rent freeze plan wouldn't work. He said that you need to build more affordable housing, which is what Zoran agrees with, by the way. He boasted about his past accomplishments again and said that he did it before as HUD secretary.
The way to increase availability of affordable housing is to build affordable housing. I was the HUD secretary. I did it all across the country.
Yes, when he was HUD secretary for President Clinton, he did push the department to tackle homelessness, discrimination, and he created HUD kiosks and expanded the Officer Next Door program. However, people thought that he was using this position for political ambition. By the way, speaking of HUD, Trump always gonna have a black HUD secretary. Like first administration, it was Ben Carson, and now it's Scott Turner. It's like he sees a black person, and then he's like, "You're black, so you're gonna be in HUD. You're gonna be in HUD, mud."
We are in the 9th consecutive year of more than 100,000 children in the New York City public school system being homeless. That means it began when Andrew Cuomo was the governor. He did not do anything. He spent more money on a singing water fountain at LaGuardia Airport than he did on the average cost of an affordable housing unit.
Number of homeless since I left has more than doubled during his administration and the state's administration.
Wait, who's the administration? You're pointing hard as ever, so I'm assuming it means Zoran Cuomo. He doesn't have an administration. This man is practicing for 2029. This man looked at one of the alternate universes that Dr. Strange saw. Okay, I'm assuming that you mean Eric Adams, but come on, man. There's like 38 differences in this picture. And then Curtis criticized Cuomo, and it was cool, not gonna lie.
Andrew, you didn't leave. You fled from being impeached by the Democrats in the state legislature. Leave. You fled. But let's get back on topic, because I'm the only candidate up here who's been into many of the over 300 Department of Homeless Services shelters, and the family shelters are unsafe for the. We have to prioritize this, because this number of homeless children is going to grow. It takes 5 years to build affordable housing. We need to address it in the shelters itself, to be able to handle it so that the teachers can come in, whether they're public school teachers, charter school teachers, and I know there are a number of parochial school teachers who love children who would volunteer their efforts to do that.
This is a populist statement because he is using simplistic language by trying to appeal to New Yorkers with common sense and using immediate actions like improving homeless shelters and bringing teachers into shelters. He also presented himself as an ordinary citizen and somebody who criticizes experts by talking about the feasibility of the policy. He also used "we are going to do this" instead of "I'm going to do this," which shows that he is using collectivist language. After that, they started talking about rent stabilization. Curtis talked about having immediate action again.
We have 6,000 empty apartments in NYCHA. That is a sin. That's what the mayor can control right away. We need to move those families with children in.
Zoran talked about his support for rent freeze, and then Cuomo, he supports a means test for having rent-stabilized apartments. Cuomo attacked Zoran and de Blasio again.
We did freeze the rent with de Blasio. We lost units because the landlords took them off the market. Because, by the way, it's all BS because the mayor doesn't have the power to do it anyway. The Rent Guidelines Board does, and he doesn't control the Rent Guidelines Board. So nothing is going to happen. It's all this.
Zoran had a rebuttal. And let me tell you, Zoran used to be a rapper, so this man knows some bars. Watch this.
You know, if you want a candidate for mayor who tells you everything that he cannot do, then Andrew Cuomo should be your choice. If you want a candidate for mayor who will use every tool at their disposal, including the 9 appointees at the Rent Guidelines Board, all of whom are appointed by the mayor, then I am the candidate for you.
All right, we covered a lot, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give y'all a break so you can like and subscribe. But I'm going to show y'all the funny moments of the debate while y'all do that. So, let's go. This man Cuomo mentioned TikTok multiple times.
Freeze the rent was done under de Blasio. It doesn't work. It's a canard and just a great 3-word slogan for TikTok.
Children in this city learn about the beauty and the breadth of the Jewish experience right here in the 5 boroughs.
Just comment on that, please. Not everything is a TikTok video.
Yes or no, Zoran?
True.
Don't be a politician here.
I got it. They're pointing out what I was about to answer the question.
What was that? Cuomo, I am on you. Boy, if you don't get that duck song dance out of here. Boy, if you don't get that I Could Talk to Money dance out of here. Boy, if you don't get that Pac-Man dance out of here. Cuomo, you from New York. You supposed to get sturdy or do the Harlem Shake. What was that dance? That was the worst dance I ever seen in my life. I cannot believe that this man said glaze. When I heard this, that shocked me.
The rank choice election?
In this, you'd have to rank these.
Myself number 1 and Curtis number 2.
Mr. Sliwa.
Oh, please don't be glazing me here, Zora. Are you kidding?
Like, I cannot believe that this man said a Gen Z slang, yo. Like, I know everyone was going crazy with that. That's why Zoran was cracking up. And then there was another part of the first mayoral debate where he said that he enjoyed Public Enemy.
You know, there used to be that song 911 is a joke by Public Enemy. 311 is a joke.
This dude listen to Public Enemy? What the? Yo, Kurt! Hold on, what do you know about Public Enemy?
He seems like a genuine dude, and he's very funny. I'm glazing Curtis right now for saying glaze, but Curtis, of course, he has to troll when Cuomo and Zoran are arguing.
We allocated more funding for housing than any governor in the history of the state of New York. You have never had a job. You've never accomplished anything. There's no reason to believe you have any merit or qualification for 8
Shame on you! Shame on you!
Just had a former governor say in his own words that the city has been getting screwed by the state. Who was leading the state? You!
Governor Hochul.
You were leading the state for
Governor
10 years,
Hochul.
screwing the city.
No.
You cut
You
homelessness
as a legislator.
funding. You cut funding for the
You
MTA.
as a
You did all
legislator.
of these things, my
That's
friend.
the
Again, fighting like kids in the schoolyard. Zoran, your resume could fit on a cocktail napkin. And Andrew, your failures could fill a public school library in New York City.
And then Zoran answers the venue question clearly. And then Curtis has to say something hilarious. And then Cuomo does something even more hilarious and fumbles the layup.
What is your favorite live music venue in New York City, Mr. Sliwa?
Oh, chain smokers. EDM.
Under the K Bridge, I presume.
That's right, the Kosciuszko Bridge.
Mr. Mondani.
Forest Hill Stadium.
Mr. Cuomo.
Under the Kosciuszko Bridge.
Have you seen a show under the K Bridge? Who'd you see?
No, I picked up my daughters at a show there. That's as close as I got.
Now, to wrap this up, education and the economy are the last best sections to show the 3 Ps. Zoran clearly stated his position on remaining opposed to mayoral control in schools, but he talked about the failure of the current system and then putting together a system for educators and students. Curtis is trying to invoke nostalgia with his answer by talking about his good old days in school and how school improved students' talent and education when he was there.
You opened up the schools as it was when I went to public school, after school center, night center, weekend center, not just sports, but culture, plays, musicals. People used to be able to take instruments home when they were in band and orchestra. That attracted children.
Cuomo talked about his experience and his ability to manage large bureaucracies, and he also talked about his policy ideas.
I have managed large bureaucracies. I would double the gifted and talented programs, double the number of specialized high schools, keep the SAT, and keep mayoral control.
For the economy, Zoran is advocating for a minimum wage of $30 by 2030.
And the reason that we put forward $30 by 2030 is that that's the minimum that a New Yorker needs to be paid to be able to afford to live in this city.
This is true. Currently, the minimum wage in New York City is not enough for a living wage. If we take a look at this FBC calendar, a family of 4 needs at least $134K to make ends meet. And this is accounting for housing, food, transportation, and healthcare. This is an ambitious policy, which is why it is also important to address the high cost of living. Curtis appealed to the ordinary New Yorker again by using simplistic language and also addressing grievances by talking about taxi and Uber drivers being replaced with AI. He also expressed the notion that the system, which is the corporate sector, is against the working class. Then Cuomo talked about his experience again, saying that he raised the minimum wage to $15, and he proved everybody wrong about that.
I went through this. We raised the minimum wage to the highest in the United States of America. New York set the bar. We set it at $15. Every other state said, that's crazy when we did it. People in the state said that was crazy when we did it.
He now supports raising the minimum wage to $20. Now, there's this belief that if you raise the minimum wage too high, that employers will not be able to pay all their workers, and it will shrink payrolls and cause job losses, which leads to a lower wage income. However, there have been studies that proven this false and show that minimum wage increases has little to no effect in unemployment. That's about it, guys. I hope that you got informed on their strategies, and I hope you enjoyed my commentary. I'm planning on doing more of this, so by the way, if you live in New York City, go out and vote. Find your polling place, because this is your future. And listen, Long Island can't vote, so Long Island is rooting for y'all. So, I'll see y'all in the next one.
Sure,
this is my first time trying Buffalo Chicken Pizza, too. Let's see.
You can ignore the rules, but candidates, you know we don't want to do that. The goal is for you to hear each other, and for New Yorkers to hear everything you have to say. Good luck.
How do y'all enjoy this? I'm going to stick to my cheese, because I'm not wasting my cheese.